the moment you've all been waiting for.
Dun, dun,
Nvidia
dun.
Nvidia has split officially, and now its new stock price is around $123, which was a far cry from the $1,200 last week. It was going crazy. So, all right, now it's split. It's done. We've been talking about this for weeks. Now it's officially split. It's at $123-ish now, right?
Yep.
Second largest company in the world as far as market cap. So now the question
They're
is,
closing in too.
at what price point should investors consider buying Nvidia? And what do we think now that all of the chaos of that situation is over? Should they go all in on Nvidia? Is now the time to go all in now that the split has occurred? So yeah, what's the deal with that?
I think Nvidia is one of the greatest companies that we've ever seen that is publicly traded. Like you said, second biggest market cap. They're closing in on Microsoft. I'm gonna share an interesting stat here in a second.
I think we're gonna say the same stat, bro.
Okay. Price that I like to get in is 107.77. So $107.77 is where I like it. If you are in Stock Club, you go to ianinvest.com. I will also give you the swing trading price and load the boat price for where it could go. If I made you money, please put yes in chat. The interesting thing that I see about Nvidia, if people should go all in, they're currently number 2, but by 2026, they should have more free cash flow than Microsoft.
That was it.
When I saw that, I said,
we read the same exact. Yep.
So for those you don't know, just the bag is bigger at Nvidia. They're still getting 45 to 48% profit margin, and they're a multi-trillion-dollar company. And you can argue that the chips are underpriced for what their market is willing to pay for them. So this company is going to keep growing. I didn't like him signing old girl's breasts at the conference. You was in your Kodak Drake bag to get back to, and your kids work at your company. How you explain to your mom and your kids you signed some girl titties at a conference? Maybe
Gotta
that's
do it.
at InvestFest. Gotta do it. What's up? May yes in chat. I got you, baby. But I think this company is going to do incredibly well for the next, I don't know, 6-7 years. I love this company almost as much as Apple. If I made you money from Apple and Microsoft, that crystal ball shining bright. People can say whatever the fuck they want to online, but when it comes to these results, boy, it is what it is. So yeah, 107.77. And I made a believe out of a few people. Shout out to a couple of my NFL guys who was unsure at first, and now you real sure. Let me get my testimonial and my check, please. So 107.77 is where I like it.
We read the same exact article when I saw it, 2024, and I think we've spoken about this a lot. And we talk about the companies that have the largest operating cash flow, and we know mergers and acquisitions is one of those things that you can do with having that type of capital. Buying back stock is one of the things you can do, but most importantly is paying off debt. And so when we look at the debt and we look at the balance sheets, it's like, well, they're gonna. We always say Apple because the treasure chest is just ridiculous.
Yep.
They're not in the Apple level yet as far as operating cash flow. Yes, they have passed them as far as market cap. But to pass it, and when we're talking about what does that number look like, right now they're at 40 billion in operating cash flow. I think next year the projection is like 67.
Yeah.
And then by the end of 25, it's like 87, which
87, 89, which is insane.
Which would pass Microsoft. And so it's crazy to think about this, but the growth potential, they're actually making more money than they're spending, right? We can see that, right? Their profit margins are coming in faster than the revenue.
Yep.
Which is like, this is like when you say the greatest, this might be the greatest company that
it's on track to give a comparison. This would be like if one company from 1920 through now had to get their motor from one company. Yeah, you got some other places you can get it from, but this is the motor. Like if there was like a V16, V24, V48 engine, great. And they're going off the shelves. And without their chips, there is no AI revolution.
No, it's so dominant, but the chips but the data centers as well.
Yep.
And I was having this conversation with a scientist in the field, and I was like, just I feel like there's something that's happening. Like every time we speak about semis Intel gets brought up. And I'm just like, well, why does Intel keep getting brought up? So I'm watching this carefully. I think everybody should as well. That's the reason I'm bringing it up, is that when I looked at the CHIPS Act and I see Intel and the amount of money that they were giving, that's interesting to me. And so I'm trying to, like, yes, it's an American company and we want to see American companies do well. And then I thought to myself, like, what separates it? Obviously, they're outdated. They can't compete at the same level when it comes to efficiency of how they're producing the product. But what they do is they manufacture their own chips, which Nvidia, right, and we spoke about last week, doesn't. And so I'm thinking to myself, well, why are they pushing Intel so hard? Like it's like a dinosaur brand, right? It's a legacy brand, but it's American and they manufacture. The goal is to keep everything here. If Nvidia is leading in data centers, right, and they don't manufacture, at some point, do you think Jensen's like, you know what? What's the last piece that we don't have?
Bring it all in house.
Like, what's the last piece, right? And if you do that, that's it, man. We're talking 4, 5 T, because you really don't need a TSM at the same level. Right now, you become the person that could potentially supply it if he's thinking at that level. I don't know that he is, but it makes me wonder why they keep talking about Intel, and I think that's the reason. Is there's this constant, hey, they manufacture, it's American made, they manufacture their own. So keep an eye on that.
Market cap of Intel is 110 billion. Profit margin 3.1%. Partnership is needed or they will die. Oh boy, on YouTube, are you ready to admit I was right about Intel yet or no? Just humbly.
Oh boy.
So
boy.
Yeah, you.
In Nvidia. Okay, so you've done a lot of Nvidia options, right?
Yeah. I stacked them.
What does that mean, stacked them?
So obviously
dinner on Troy every time we go.
I ain't got it. You know the rules. So I had the 205 call that expires on the 21st of this month. But as it crossed certain thresholds, right, when I'm up 120, 200, 300, I think at this point, this is probably the highest percentage I've ever gained on an option call. I think I'm at like 1,900%, which is ridiculous on the 205. Yeah. It passes 400. Now I'm looking at calls inside the 400. So I get a 400 call. That goes up. I think we're both in there, right? You see how he just like calmly shook his head there, Ian? Right? So
smart.
That passes a threshold of 700. Well, now I'm looking at 800 calls, right? That goes up 100, 200%. Well, now I'm looking at the $1,000 call because I'm watching the price. Every time I'm taking in the information, I'm hearing new announcements. I'm watching all these analysts have their margins and their price targets increase. I want to know why. And if they're increasing and it's unanimous that they're increasing, all right, well, I've already made profit all the way up. So now I'm just stacking my calls. I'm stacking my calls, right? So if I lose percentage, yeah, you lose, but the percentage, like I said, 1,900%. Even if I fall down 100%, like you're still happy with 1,800, right?
Yeah, you're good.
And so I've already, the winner's already built in. So now I'm just stacking the call. I might have a new stack coming, and I'll probably talk about it this week. But that's what I've been doing, just stacking the call. And as the stock rises, I obviously have shares as well. So that's when it's a complete stack. I own shares of the company, but I also have calls on the company as well. And so if you look inside your portfolio and you press company, everything will come up in alphabetical order, and I'll see my Nvidia shares, boom, and I'll see every call that I have in Nvidia. And so to me, that's how I'm looking at it, as a stack.
So
yeah, you have to invest in this, trade the same ones that you're investing in.
Yeah.
Long term as well.
Your options class this Thursday.
Yes.
You're going to be talking about Nvidia?
We're going to be talking about Nvidia, but almost equally as important, we're going to be talking about a company that I said 2 weeks ago here on Market Mondays that we were waiting to look at how they were going to report. I said it last week. And then inside of the community, I said, look, I'm looking at this call, and the company's name is CrowdStrike. If you look at CrowdStrike today, this thing almost positioned itself perfectly. And I'm going to tell you exactly how we looked at it, some of the research, but that was a key factor that I didn't let everybody know that I'll talk about this week. CrowdStrike hit its all-time high today. It's trading at 380. So the call that we were in is now up, and we can do this. I'll tell you what it got up to.
It's kind of 380, 20 right now.
A call that we made last week is now up 233%. So I want to pat myself on the back.